Once again, you're welcome into the new year, and for the benefit of those who have joined us through the recording. When I was thinking about how to begin the personal development and growth sessions, I thought a good place to start would be with our inner game, with how we think, because many times how we perform starts with how we think. So that's why I came up with a thought of beginning with the topic of cultivating a winning attitude for success in 2025. So today we are going to be basically looking at, does a winning attitude look like? How can we develop it? To begin with, attitude is a number of things. And I know we have had this conversation before, so I will just go ahead and share a little bit about what I think attitude is. Attitude is the lens through which we view life. Okay, so how we look at life, that is your attitude. You look at this business and you say, this business possible. That is your attitude. If you look at it and you say, this business hard. And there are people like that. I mean, you go out there and you're talking to people and people give you all kinds of different experiences that maybe they have had. But what you need to keep at the back of your mind is that that is the lens through which they view life. So what might be hard for you may not be hard for somebody else. Your experience may be different from someone else's experience. Many times it is the attitude. It is the attitude. The way we think and feel about something, the way you feel about the product, the way you feel about the opportunity, the way you feel about your next step, that is your attitude. Okay? And your attitude is also your mindset, is your frame of mind, basically how you think. Okay? There are many other ways you can describe an attitude, but precisely this is what it is. Now, we just have to remember, like we have said before, that success will begin in the mind. In this year, success begins in the mind. So we need to acquire a mindset of success, even as we approach this year, even as we approach our business, as we handle anything, it's your business, your job, career, anything. Just remember that how you think determines how you will perform. Okay. Now, we also need to remember, thinking about attitude and mindset, that it guarantees your success. Okay. And there is something I came across here, that success is 20% skill and 80% mindset. Now, what does this mean? It doesn't mean that skill is not important. In fact, skill is very important. However, when you come up to a place where all factors are constant, both people are skilled, many times the difference maker will be in their mindset. In fact, it is also possible to find someone who is so skilled, but because they have maybe a poor mindset, and the poor mindset here might be, I know it all, what can you teach me? Now, that is a mindset issue. Now, someone who is so skilled, but has got a certain kind of mindset that is not supportive, might actually not make it, compared to someone who is less skilled, but has the mindset of, I am open to learning. Okay? I have done this before, but I'm willing to do it afresh, maybe do it in a new way. That is the mindset piece. So a skilled person is good, but then the mindset is even more important, because at the end of the day, you might be skilled, but if your mindset is not supportive, if you don't have a positive frame of mind, it might limit how you perform, even though you are skilled. There are people who are skilled, but guess what? They don't perform as well as they should. Many times it might be a mindset issue. So yes, your success is 20% skill, 80%. It is how you think and the way you think that really matters. So let me ask you to post for me in the chat. So why, given that background, what makes attitude important? In your opinion, why is it important, specifically in the kind of business that we run? Why is attitude something important? Why is it important? Okay. Type for me in the chat, and I will be interested to know, why do you feel that mindset is important? The moment I see some comments in the chat, I will immediately turn to them. So keep those thoughts coming. We are talking about attitude, and today we are saying, in your opinion, from your experience, why is attitude important? Okay. I will share with you maybe two as I wait for you to type in the chat in the interest of time. Okay. The first reason why I think that attitude is important is that it helps us to overcome limiting beliefs. Okay, and I can see some comments coming in, keep them coming. I see one comment so far, I see three. Okay, maybe let me first read those so that I don't repeat myself. So let me first, let me just do this. The comments coming through, all right. So attitude or mindset determines the altitude, literally. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Isesa, and I'll say something a bit more about that. Yes, so your attitude determines your altitude. Your altitude is how high you rise. Okay, so that is determined by your attitude. Then Gilbert says attitude is important because it will shield you from the negativity out there. Precisely. Thank you very much, Gilbert. Yes, an attitude of, yes, things may not work now because I have just started, I'm learning. Okay. Or you just have to always have that, in the car you call them shock absorbers. An attitude should be like a shock absorber. Someone tells you, like someone told me, she started the business, she went and shared it with her friend. This lady was called Mary, and the friend said, Mary. And she said it in Uganda. Olabanze byannema, meaning, you see me, I failed. Now, what about you? Can you imagine? That is the statement that was said to her when she had just started. Now, every time she made an appointment and tried to share the idea with someone, you know what would come to mind? The other statement. You see me, I failed. What about you? And when I met her and started sharing with her, she looked at me with this eye and said, yes, I tried this thing, it didn't work. Then I asked her, do you feel that you gave it enough attention and time? She said no. I asked her, would you be willing to do that given the support and time? She said yes. I said, come on board and I will support you. See that? So that is attitude. Attitude is, like Gilbert has said, it shields you from the negativity. Sometimes someone tells you something and you say, okay, in your mind, of course, you don't have to say it, otherwise you'll start a battle of words. You can tell them in your mind that, you know what, maybe that is your opinion, but I will be different. That you have to learn to fight some battles mentally in the silence of your mind. Okay. Joyce says it helps us to handle objections and accept the no. Okay, thank you, Joyce. Rosemary says it motivates us to take action. Okay. Josephine Namuviru, to excel in our performance. Yes, you excel. Like Dr. Cesar said, your attitude determines your altitude. William said, because it keeps you believing in yourself and become confident in everything you do. Felicity says it gives you the motivation to move on with your work, right? Letitia says it drives the decisions that we make. Very true. Linda, attitude determines your success or your failure. Dr. Eve, attitude determines your productivity level. MRK, a negative attitude is like a flat tire. It won't get you anywhere. Thank you. Isaiah, it drives you from negativity to positivity. Thank you. Esther, attitude determines signals to the brain to prepare a reaction, take action. Biology there. Thank you so much, Esther. Again, Dr. Esther says attitude affects self-esteem and faith to believe. Okay. And Jelia says attitude determines our performance and growth. Daniel, it sets your actions, and Juliet, it helps us to believe in ourselves. Wow, beautiful responses. Thank you so much. I will find a way to capture all this. Well said and well put. Okay, so why is attitude important? Let me share with you why I think attitude is important. Okay. Why is attitude important? Number one, we talked about, and it came out earlier, it helps us to overcome limiting beliefs. Now, I want you to have a look at this image. There you go. That is a powerful horse. Those horses are powerful. They can move at a terrific speed. They are strong. I want you to think about the fact that that horse is being trapped by a rope that is tied to just a chair that even my 5-year-old daughter can carry. In fact, the 9-month-old son can push that chair. Okay? And that horse has been trapped and it's not going anywhere, even with its power and strength. The chair has trapped the mighty horse. That is why I said earlier that success is 20% skill and 80% mindset. In this picture, you can see that the skill of the horse in terms of running and fighting and strength high. You see, in this case, it is trapped. The mindset that it has literally trapped it and imprisoned it. And maybe this is the case because in the past, when they are capturing them, they get a chain, they tie it to a pole. So every time it tries to break away, the chain pulls it back. And because of that, it gets the mentality that should you dare try to escape, you will see. Now, how bringing it home? Maybe you have tried this before and it failed. I mean, every time you even think about doing it, you realize, oh my God. Little do you know that the chain has been removed. Now they have put a rope. And even with a rope, you still think that you can't move. Look at the mighty elephant. An elephant as strong as anything, the elephant is being trapped in a nail. Same thing like the horse. It was trapped in the past and it thinks that probably the chain is still there. So the strong and mighty elephant is still trapped by a nail. So let me ask, maybe at a personal level, is there something that you think is holding you back? The way a chair is holding, the rope is holding back these two animals? Maybe something that you believed in the past, something that you had tried in the past, and because it happened in the past, you have never even tried again because of what happened in the past, or what could be a limiting belief. Okay. Now, I want you to think about this statement. Sometimes the thing that is holding you back is just in your head. Okay? Sometimes the thing that is holding you back is just in your head. Now, this year, we are talking about cultivating a winning attitude for success in 2025. In this year, I want you to think back after this session and maybe just ask yourself, what is in my head that is holding me back? Because probably the thing that is actually holding you back is just in your head. It's not what you think it is just in your head. The thing that is holding back these animals is just in their heads. It is not the strength of the nail, it is not the chair. So what is it that could be holding you back that has really tied you down just because of what is in your mind? That is what attitude does. It helps you to challenge your limiting beliefs and rise above them. Number 2, your attitude determines your possibilities in life. You know, that bee there is called a bumblebee. In fact, I remember there is a team in South Africa called the Bumblebees. Dr. says, I don't know if those guys are still there, but my God, I attended a World Team Conference one time and they were all over. The Bumblebees in their orange t-shirts. Bumblebees. Now, the bumblebees, what are the bumblebees? The bumblebees, ideally, a bumblebee should not be flying. Why? Because according to physics, the laws of aerodynamics do not permit a bumblebee to fly. Scientists say because of the size of the body, because of the span of the wings, and also because of the shape and design of the wings, that bee, ideally, according to the laws of physics and science and aerodynamics, should not be able to fly. But you know what? Bumblebee does not know anything about physics. Bumblebee does not know anything about science. The bumblebee does not know anything about aerodynamics. So the bumblebee just gets up and zoom, it flies. Now, what does that mean? Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way you are right. Whether you think you can, this year, We are talking about developing 3 director legs. Now, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way you are right. It's even better to say, I think I can, because now you're right. That's an empowering frame of mind. Because when you say, I think I can't, guess what? You are right. You see, and we shall be talking about this along the way with Esther. We'll be talking about the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. In that book, one of the things that stood out for me when I read it, the author said, whenever you give your mind a command, your mind will capture it, it will make it work. So in other words, if you say, I think I can't, now your mind has heard you, and it's going to give you all the reasons why you are right in saying, I think I can't. And when you say, I think I can, the same mind will come back and give you a list of reasons why you actually think, why you are right to say you. So either way, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. Just like the bumblebee. The bumblebee is not aware about the physics that was discovered. For it, what it does, it just gets up and it flies. So your attitude determines your possibilities. Will determine your possibilities. Number 3 was already mentioned. Your attitude determines your altitude. Now, there is something called aptitude. In fact, someone came to me recently and asked me to quote her because she was preparing for an aptitude test. Okay? Now, as I was also going through those questions and helping her to understand how to approach them, I said, these things called aptitude. Oh my goodness. If they came to me, I'm not honestly sure how I would perform. But I'm encouraged that so aptitude is how logical you think, how quickly you can think. It is aptitude. It's like an IQ test. They are testing your level of intelligence in terms of how quickly you can think and solve a problem in the shortest time possible. Okay. In fact, one of the things I asked her, normally if I asked you 2 times 4, what is 2 times 4? You would obviously give the answer. Now this time, they changed the question and said, what is 4 doubled? Now you're thinking, what is 4? Now, little do you know that 4 doubled means 4 doubled, like double 4. So in other words, it is still 2 times 4. But the only thing is they have played with your intelligence to ask you what is 4 doubled. So you're even wondering, doubled by what? In fact, sometimes she asked me, doubled by what? I say doubled simply means anything times 2. Okay, so that is just an example of aptitude. But the thing about life is that it's not your aptitude. It is your altitude. It is your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. And if you want to know this very well, you look back in class, and probably there are people that were not really so smart. Yeah, I mean, they were not always in the top half of the class. Maybe they were in the half of the class that made the top half possible. Okay, they were in the bottom part of the class. But guess what? You meet them many years after school, and people are doing well, not because of their aptitude, but because of their attitude. So yes, your attitude will determine how high you rise this year. If you feel that, yes, I can make it, indeed you will. Now, your attitude also determines how you view yourself. And many times I like to ask this simple question: who is the king of the jungle? It's an obvious answer, not so? Lion. Okay? Is the lion. Now, why is that the case? Just listen in to a little video, a short video about the king of the jungle and what makes him so.
There are only 2 animals on the planet that the Creator identified himself with. The first one is the eagle. The eagle. And the second animal is the lion. And when I identified those 2 animals as his favorite to identify himself with, I recognized I better study these 2 animals, because if he is the leader of the universe and I want to be a leader on earth, I better find out the nature of these animals and also the attitude of these animals. And I discovered that both of them are the kings of their domain. The eagle is the king of the bird kingdom, and the lion is the king of the animal kingdom. But let's talk a little bit about the lion. The lion has what I call the spirit of leadership. And this word spirit here is referring to attitude. Everybody say attitude. A leader has a attitude that makes him or her different from followers. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion to me is a great source of encouragement to all of us. I want you to write this down. Remember this as long as you live. Number one, the lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. Number two, the lion is not the largest animal in the jungle. Number three, the lion is not the heaviest animal in the jungle. Number four, the lion is not the smartest animal or the most intelligent animal in the jungle. And yet, when he shows up, they all run away. Well, here's one of my favorite quotes that I put in my books, and I believe it really brings home the point. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. And the answers to that dilemma is this: because leadership can transform cowards into violent warriors. The right kind of leadership can transform a timid into bold people who are fearless. Leadership is that powerful. Leadership can walk into a camp of depressed people, and in 20 minutes they have turned on into unbelievable, powerful armies. Because leadership determines everything. The lion is the king of the jungle because of one word: attitude. Everybody say attitude. Write it down. Attitude. The lion has a different attitude that makes every animal afraid of him. Now, we don't want to lead by fear, but it does take respect for you to become a leader. When I use the word fear in the jungle, we're talking about respect. The elephant respects the lion. The hyenas respect the lion. The giraffes, they respect the lion. What makes these massive animals respect such a small cat? The attitude is the difference. For example, a lion will see an elephant, and the thing that comes to his mind, one word: lunch. I could eat this thing. And he acts the way he thinks. Now, here's another amazing mystery. The elephant is larger, bigger, stronger, more powerful, heavier, and more intelligent. And yet, when the elephant sees the lion, one word comes to mind: eater. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. The lion is the king because of what he believes about himself.
Hey, I like that statement there, that attitude is a product of your belief. Attitude is a product of your belief. And he also said that the lion is the king because of what he believes about himself. Believes about himself. So my question to you is, what do you believe about yourself? You know, that's the most important conversation you need to have. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. I mean, for you, what do you believe about yourself? That is really the thing. So what we are talking about here is a positive attitude. An empowering attitude helps you to view yourself better. Because let me tell you what, if you wake up in the morning and you're not comfortable with yourself, guess what? Even people out there will not be comfortable with you, because subconsciously you are putting out a signal that says, I am not confident about this. So no one will believe in you, even when you're saying the right thing. The lion is the king, not because he's the tallest, not because he's the strongest, not because he's the smartest, not because he's the fastest, because of what he believes about himself. So in other words, you may not be, I mean, as organized, you may not be as someone who can maybe stand in front of an audience. You may not be, all of that. Fine, that aside, put that aside. The most important thing is what you believe about yourself. You believe that if I have done things in the past, I can do this business. This is not the hardest thing you have ever done in your life. This is not the hardest thing. There are even harder things you have done. There are more complicated things you have achieved in the past. So now you need to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that, wait, if I could do this before, I can do this again. I have not come here to fail. I am not a failure. You need to have that conversation with yourself. You need to know who you are. Many times you look at yourself in the mirror, look at that cat. That cat looks in the mirror and sees a lion. Okay? Now, let me put it this way. There are people who are cats, but they look at themselves as lions. I mean, some people really have a big belief about themselves. They have a big self-concept about themselves. And then some people may be lions. In other words, they are really big. They have the skill, they have the experience, they have everything, they have got it all. And you know what? They look at themselves in the mirror and they see themselves as a cat. Now, King Solomon said right down there that for as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. In other words, as you think about yourself, so you are. The way you go out this year will be determined by what you believe about yourself. The lion is not the fastest, it's not the smartest, it's not the tallest, it's not the strongest, it's not anything, but it is the king. You know why? Because of what he believes about himself. So maybe one way to cultivate a winning attitude is to first look back and ask yourself, who am I? Why do I believe I can make it? What is it about me that makes me tick? Because if you keep on doubting yourself, second guessing yourself, it will show even when you begin to talk to someone. Something will show that it seems you're not true of yourself. We are talking about how you believe about yourself. And then attitude is the only guarantee that you can transform your life. Someone called William James, he was an American philosopher, he said, human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. Okay? That one way we can change our lives, that if we can just change our attitude, we can transform our life. And that's not very far away from even what the scripture says in Romans 12:2. There's a statement that says, let God transform you inwardly by a complete change of your mind. Now, even God in his might, in his majesty, knows that for you to transform a person, you can transform a person's circumstances, but you have not helped the person. But a person will not change until there is a change of mind. Change begins with a change of mind. Transformation begins with a change. For today, time is fast spent. We have looked at what is attitude, first of all, and why is it important. Next week, we'll begin on another segment on attitude, but just as a recap, we have said a winning attitude will enable you to overcome limiting beliefs. We have said it will determine your possibilities in life. It will determine how high you go, that is your altitude. It will determine what you believe about yourself. Very important, go and think about what is my belief about myself this year. Because even if everyone believes in you and you don't believe in yourself, it won't work. Number 5, it's the only guarantee that you can change life. Next week, we shall pick it up from here and continue to talk about what specifically we can do to develop a winning attitude this year. Thank you for your participation. Let's pick it up again next week.